Hey everybody, how we doing this morning? I am probably just gonna start this one early. Let's get this one on the road. I've got a busy day and I would rather start early than start later. So let me adjust this camera. My beard is a mess today, everybody. Mess. Anyone who has a beard understands the problems of sleeping on your beard wrong. It happens a lot, actually. Let me turn this light off. There we go. So how's everybody doing? We doing good? Yesterday's show went well. I was pretty happy with that. We had quite the turnout for the interview with the Dark Space guys. Really cool dudes. Great product. I'm excited to see the new things that they put out over the next couple of months, especially if they get their advanced one out before the end of the year. An advanced Dark Space book. A good after hours conversation with them. I'll be editing that throughout this week and getting that out for us as well. I'm just gonna brush this on stream. I don't care. Today we're gonna be doing something for me. I'm gonna be looking over Bastionlands today. Mythic Bastionlands live. I am still trying to decide what our next show is gonna be, and I've been wanting to run this as a live show for a little bit, like legitimately for a little while. And I think it's in the running as a pretty high end one. That and then Wild Sea is the other one I've been looking at. I got a whole bunch of Wild Sea stuff sitting over here. And while I want to be running my own products like breachers and stuff like that, I also want to give the cast a little bit of a break. I haven't been putting them through the ringer stress wise. And I feel like I need to give them a little bit of a breather after these last couple of seasons of stuff that we've done. ETHAUNTIA has been hella stressful for them. So I don't want to just keep putting them through it. You know what I mean? I feel a little bad. But maybe they need a little breaky break. But yeah, how's everybody else doing? Kyle, congrats on winning yesterday. I contacted Brian, let him know from Vasgrim or Creature Creations that you won the metal print, so that he can get that out to you here. Hopefully I get a confirmation from him today or tomorrow. And then if Star Drew drops by, I need him to give me his email address so I can have the guys from Dark Space send over the product for them as well. Archiver wasn't stressful. I think Diana would argue that it was. I don't want to go back to Archiver though. I love it. It's a great like 4-episode piece. I really did enjoy running that though. But I don't really want to go back to that. So let's see here. What else was I wanting to showcase today? Let me refresh this. Why is that saying it's live? Is it just telling people that it is live? That was weird. There we go. It was showing that my show from yesterday was live still, which doesn't make any fucking sense. Looking to see if there's any videos that I wanted to showcase today. I haven't really seen any new tabletop videos that I've been enamored with. The tariff stuff's still going around. Everyone's talking about that, and we all know that that's a catastrophe. Is there anything else news-wise? Any news stuff? Let's bring this over here. Let's go over... What's the wrong thing? No, there's a couple pieces of news, but none of them are really grabbing me this week. No, I enjoyed running Archiver. I just don't want to run it again. If I run it again, I would run it during October. I don't really want to go back to that one because that crew's dead. I mean, some made it out. Some made it. No. No. Yeah, there's really no new news. Nothing I'm really excited about. Outgun getting the superhero one was the one I was most excited about. There's some D&D errata. Conjuring spells are getting nerfed. We saw the Fan Fest. Black Powder and Brimstone. I'm going to be reviewing that, so I don't want to go over that. That's probably our next one. I'm going through my list. I have a huge list of news that comes in every day. Yeah, no, I don't see anything else. I got a lot of horror movie news, but I don't do that during this show. All right, I guess we're skipping news today. Like we're skipping the newsies. I don't think we got anything that really looks great, unless any of you guys got news that you want me to look at today. Oh, there's a couple things. I lie. I forgot. There's a couple. Hold on here. Where is this at? Where is this at? There is something that I should show you guys because it's stupid. Excuse me, everyone. Assassin's Creed is getting a board game. and I want to talk about this for a minute because I think it's kind of important. Not that I love Assassin's Creed. I think back in the day it was doing a lot for us, but there is a sale to talk about. And then I will say something that's not tabletop related. If you have not played Clara Obscura, Clara Obscura, what is it called now? Expedition 33. It is a fucking masterpiece. I highly, highly recommend it. I mean, it's kind of beyond what I expected to be good wise. Like it is phenomenal. That is not tabletop news, it's a video game, but if you are a JRPG fan, it is worth paying the price for it, and it's not as expensive as a regular video game. I'm trying to find it. See if I can find it this way. My link that I had for it isn't pulling up. It was on Board Game Geek. This one came out in 2021, and they're going back at it again. And I'm just shocked that they feel the need to revisit this again. Like, I really am. Like, why would you go? Like, it was an absolute failure. And it's like Assassin's Creed can't learn from all of the mistakes they make, and they just keep going and making these fucking mistakes. Beginning of 2025, it's going to happen. And it's Mantic, which is why I'm upset about it. Because I like Mantic. I think Mantic does great stuff. Their Halo Flashpoint was awesome. So, like, look, maybe they can save it. But it's Kickstarter. Here it is. I found it. I don't care about Daggerheart thing. Die announced Thunderfolk. That's fine. Creative Commons. We already know about that. Okay, I think I got the 3 news articles here. They're really short this week, so we don't have a lot to record. I have some strong points of view on some of this stuff. And in the Creative Commons, Sure. Yeah, dude. Yes, it's getting a board game. We're gonna go through this. I decided I'm doing this. All right. All right. All right. I'm set up now. We're gonna record this. We're gonna record this for news. This is such a dumb. It's so stupid. Let me throw our ad. Do I have my ad on here? I do not. Let me get my ad up here. I made an ad for the day, but it's for something else entirely. Classy showed up. Oh, hey, Classy. I guess you're classy now. Serving Hands, would you use the words classy to describe yourself? It's just a question. Is that what would you consider yourself classy? Oh shit. All right, there's that. Let's make sure this looks good. Let me get our episode on here too. I've made so many YouTube overlays. I'm gonna have to start organizing them by month. Thanks to Dungeon Crawler Carl, Princess Donut gets some sunglasses and calls them classy. Wait, what is that? Your face is okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to just let it slide. Let's make sure that this stuff is lined up right. Definition of class, huh? Pure sarcasm. All right, so I'm just gonna record this in a short form so I can put this out because there's two pieces on here that I want to talk about. So let me go back to our solo cam, and then we're going to. Oh, look at the cat. Yeah. All right, start recording. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody, we're only going to go over a few pieces of news today that I can... Man, people don't learn lessons. They don't learn. And video game companies don't learn them really at all. And then now, one of my favorite miniature companies is doing something that scares me. They proved me wrong before. We'll see if they prove me wrong again this time. On top of that, we got some obviously news about the SRD. So let's check it out. So D&D SRD 5.2 officially out now. Free rules for all. I love that they use Tiamat as the explanation for the SRD being free now. To me, that seems like not the person I would put at the front of the pack for sharing the news. Also, the irony of SRD 5.2 D&D at your fingertips and an imp just tearing the shit out of a book. Look, Bella Lost Souls, I feel like you are trying to tell us something, but I'm not sure. I feel like maybe you're giving us a little weaving in your personal opinion on stuff with those art pieces picked. But it is cool. It's coming out for people who want to make things for the SRD. Don't forget the original one still exists. There's nothing that can take that away either. You can find that down at the bottom. I will put the links down below for the places I'm pulling these from. But thanks, Bell, for covering this. Everybody has covered the SRD, but I at least wanted to put out that it made it. On top of that, yes, the imp is mad. Orc Buddy didn't make it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Next up, this is actually really cool. Magpie put this out. It was in my newsletter I got from them earlier today. 25% off core rulebook for Spring Fling sales. Look at these two babies right here. Look at these right here. Dragonbane and Cyberpunk Red, if you've not picked them up. 25% off right now. Again, links will be down below. I love that they did this. Urban Shadows I own the PDF for. I haven't looked over it. I may pick up the new 40K though, because I'm interested in playing the new 40K. I have all this stuff from Fantasy Flight Games. Actually, right back here, that's the Battle Brothers edition, that metal one there from Fantasy Flight. And I'm curious to see what this new version is. My understanding is Cubicle 7 is doing this now, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Cubicle 7. So I'm curious to see what this is all about. They always have great artwork. Their Cubicle 7 has just really kept increasing their quality of who they are over the years. So this is out. I'm curious to see what the gameplay style is for it. Spire, The City Must Fall, Vampire the Masquerade, we're all familiar with that. Dune the Adventure, I am not, I know I'm breaking code, but I am not a big Dune fan, but for everybody is, here you go. Pendragon is phenomenal, of course, if you're interested in it, pick that up. Dragonbane, Cyberpunk, and of course the Edge Runner version. Edge Runner brings out your idea of doing the quick hacks and all the other things that we've played in Cyberpunk 2077. So that's all out as well. I'm excited for that. Don't miss out. 25% off for the Spring Fling. But that brings us to the only other piece of news that I want to talk about today. And guys, I grew up as an Assassin's Creed fan, and we all watched as they've had some bumps and, you know, hills and falls, and then they just took like this swan dive the last couple of games. And it's not the people making the game's fault, it's the publisher that becomes the problem. Right now there is a Kickstarter that's getting ready to launch, and Mantic is doing it. So let's take a look. Assassin's Creed Animus. The Creed comes alive on tabletop, 2 to 4 player journey through exciting historical eras. Become a legendary assassin with unique abilities. Enjoy challenging and choice-rich gameplay. Maybe Mantic can save the Assassin's Creed franchise. Maybe it needs to come to board game. I mean, you got to think about it. There is a ton of product that has come out through all the historical time frames. And it could, I mean, 1, it will be amazing miniatures. 2, Mantic does make good stuff. Halo Flashpoint is phenomenal. Their terrain pieces I use for my in-person corpse talks. Maybe they can fix it. Maybe they got something here. But until then, you can always click notify me and get yourself ready for the launch. We'll see what happens. Yes, I agree. Enzo was my guy. I love the one that took place during the Jack the Ripper stuff. I think the one that was in Greece was phenomenal. There are some good ones, but these last couple have just been not striking well. We'll see what they do, everybody. Black Flag, masterpiece. Like, there's good ones. There's good ones. But what I'm curious about is that the Animus is the machine you get into in the real world and the future, and you go back in the past and play these. So I don't know how they're going to do this, if you're just going to kind of roll a time frame. I'm curious to see more. I am actually curious. And I'm only curious because Mantic is doing it. I think not many other companies could pull this off. So that's it. News is short today, everybody. Other than that, if you are a fan of the show and what I do, check out Breachers Volume 1. It's out now, and you can order it. If you go to the ETHAUNTIA store and look up Breachers, the physical zines that I'm making, the legacy versions, are now available as well. They come custom. They're signed. The staples are done in different colors depending on kind of what I want for that version. And the negative series is all of the legacy editions. And then eventually, when I decide it's going to go to print, if it does well enough, I'll do a mass print of it. And those will be all the positive numbers. But I wanted like the precursor to #1 to be the things that I'm making. They're well crafted, great paper, and they've turned out awesome. Those who've already ordered, they start shipping this week. That's it for me. All the links will be down below for this video. If you're on the live show, stick around. We have a lot more to do. So, recorded that. I have so many news feeds that I'm going to trim down, and I'm just going to drop all of the news as this huge-ass playlist. Wait, Nick, are you trying to say it was great? Is that sarcasm I taste in your words? Huh? So here, are we really do we want to go down the rabbit hole of why I don't like Assassin's Creed? So Assassin's Creed, I enjoyed a lot of. We're sitting down. I'm tired of standing here. I don't think inherently the IP is bad. I think that the company who publishes them rakes the people who buys from them over the fucking coals. And we're paying for something of repetition every time. The stories have gotten worse and worse and worse. And like, I loved Black Flag. The Greek one that came out actually had better ship combat, to be honest with you. And I played the hell out of it. But everything became a fetch quest later on, where you're just going rooftop to rooftop and fetching feathers or whatever the fuck it is. Valhalla was so long, visually gorgeous, but it was so long. So long. And then the one I was looking forward to the most was the one out of Japan. And it's the worst one that they've made. I do not care about the politics behind it. I just wanted to play the game. I wanted to see the visuals of Japan. I wanted to see all the historical stuff they did. I wanted to see them showing up and doing the tours of like all the historical sites. I was really, God, it's up my eye. It's killing me. I was really excited for all that stuff. But that's not what we got. At all. And the story goes from being like an assassin, because you play this female ninja, to playing this beater. Like just this Tetsubo wielding just ass whooper. And I'm okay with a change up. I don't have a problem with change up, but the second person you're playing is not an assassin. He's just this brick shit house. I feel like they've lost their way. Maybe, hey guys, maybe they've made too many Assassin's Creeds. Maybe the franchise has just been beat into the ground. I don't know, man. And it's just not good. Anyway, let's talk about something good and not shitty. I have friends who have worked on those franchises. It's just gotten lazy. I'm okay with historical inaccuracy. I don't need it to be 100%. They're doing altered history, Nick. Like, it's altered history. I'm fine with altered history. You're not playing through something that's historically relevant. Also, Star Drew, you need to send me your information. Give me an email that you have connected to DriveThruRPG, because you won the Dark Space. The Dark Space PDF. The guys want to send it over to you. So if you want to message me on Discord or send your email to me through email, you can send it to me at media@erikfrankhousepresents.com. Or you can just directly send me a message on Discord. Star Drew, I don't even know if you're in our Discord. I don't think I've ever seen you. Oh, iced coffee, you're my best friend. My best friend. So anyway, let me put these links into here so I have them. So I had to add them after the show. Nuts, is that PDF? Yeah, it's PDF. Yep, it's a PDF version. They gave 4 PDFs for theirs because they don't have that many prints. Not everyone does print stuff. It's PDF print, and you only lose 1 entry. So, like, if you have multiple cards you play during the shows, you're still entered. Like, we only drew 2 of the 200 draws. Where's my EFP stuff here? I'm looking up where I put my notes. April 30th? No. I can't believe we're at the end of April already, everybody. Really, this month just, I closed my eyes and opened them and it was gone. Like, fucking sucked. You know what I mean? We just cooked through. Oh, here's the link. Anyone looking to get some of that 25% off, by the way. 25% off for all those core rule books is awesome. If you haven't picked up your Dragonbane book, get it. Especially if you're going to be playing in a living ETHAUNTIA. I recommend getting yourself one. Both of those Cyberpunk box sets are absolutely phenomenal. Like, all you need to do it. Assassin's Creed, Animus, stunner. Yeah, April was not slow for me. Not for me in the slightest. In slightest. Apparently, also, did you guys see that Pixar put out a tabletop game? Did you guys see that? Yeah. Pixar. I don't know if you guys even know about it. It's called, they did like a D&D clone. It's something Quest. Yeah, here it is. Check this out. Yeah, I'm trying to get my hands on it to review it. This gentleman who does the puppets and stuff, he reviewed it, which I'm interested in watching. I like his stuff a lot. No, it's like a D&D ripoff. It's like their own version of it. Quest Your Onward. But it's a little board gamey to me. There's a lot of trinkets and stuff in here. Look at these trinkets. Like little just bitterly bop pieces. 2-fold GM screen, 84-page advanced player's guide, 135-page tome of quests, 16 polyhedral dice, 151 cards, including the Phoenix Gem, an artifact that's played a central role in the film. But I didn't see... Is this a movie? Quest of Yore? Is this a movie that Pixar did? I've never seen it if it is. You would never... This is bullshit. You would never put these tiles in here and destroy those hexagonal cardboard pieces. Quest of Yore is the name of it. Onward is the movie. I've never seen it. But yeah, they made a whole version. I love I think it's pretty. Quest of Yore Barley Edition is what it's called. But look at the price point. I mean, only Disney can hit that price point. Yeah, I see this as Hero Quest. Like, anytime I see ones like that, I think Hero Quest. That's what my brain does. Aw. That sounds adorable. Was it good? Did you watch it? Is it good? I might watch that after this. Brian just said he will get it out to you, Kyle. I just got a message from him. Huh. That's cool. All right. Okay, man. Well, I didn't know about this. I'll put this in the show notes. We didn't talk about it, but I'd like to get a copy and look over it. We live in the golden age still of TTRPGs. Anyone who tells you we don't, they're fucking liars. I mean that. Like, sincerely mean they're fucking liars. 'Cause look at this shit, dude. All right. So today we have a goal. I am still trying to pick what I'm going to run for our next show. And I've had a hard time doing it. Aww. I watched it, but damn, did it hit differently after my own dad passes. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it did. It's a great movie. Nah, they're doing it wrong. I mean, Starger, you're the board game person out of the group of us, as far as I know. This is wrong. Okay. Star Drew, where are you sending your email to? Are you gonna just email it to me? What are you gonna do so I know where to look? I'm excited to look over this with you guys today. This is one of my favorite game systems to drop. So today, everybody, we're going to be scrolling through Mythic Bastionlands. And this Chris McDowell, man, this guy gets it. I'm just making this fit properly. Hold on there. We're gonna zoom in. So this has got some of my favorite art in a TTRPG. Like, it is mind-boggling good. This is the cover. And you may have noticed, I'm gonna pull my ad up. I'm going to pull my ad up. My ad for today's show, and I'll show you when I record. See that background that I have there? That green? Wait till I show you what that is. It's fucking dope. All right. Let's see here. Someone's asked me some questions here. Let's see here. Gotta answer the people. All right. I know not many people have played this game. As far as I know, I ran it for a few of the cast members and one person who's in the audience. Raven's in the audience a decent amount, and I ran it for him as well. I'm trying to get this to line up right. It's just chopping for some reason. Huh? Oh no, it wasn't you. Sorry, Drew. I was answering somebody else. You didn't install shit. I was answering private message for worky stuff. So, this is Mythic Bastionlands. I want you to look at this inside cover. I'm so excited to get my print copy of this. This is 77 knight classes. I want to repeat that. There are 77 knight classes in this book. Like, oh, so fucking many. And this is the art from all of those. And the back cover, we're just going to fast forward. The back cover also gets it. And this is all the omens in the book. What? Now, we have been waiting for this publication because the artist was ill. And it's one artist doing the entire book. Very similar to how we've seen Dragonbane done. So this uses the Karn system. If you haven't seen Karn, and it uses the dice pool system of Into the Odd and Bastionlands, kind of, but changed up, upgraded, like more is added. This is a knight-styled game. It is a hex crawl game with its own hex crawl rules. I'm trying to fix this stool. Dude, this is, I believe, a masterclass in design. This, Blades in the Dark, masterclass in TTRPG game design for me. Just, it's so impressive. So the cold mist and hills, beast witsome and fell, and holdings and havens and vassals a dwell. Seers know the all, the start and the end, myths hushed aloud to which trust must have been. This is King Arthur meets a modern game design, but it's its own thing. And I have this crazy idea I want to do to run it. I can't share publicly or it'll ruin it, but needless to say, it will be night related. I want to know why. Okay, there we go. So, it's not the thickest book. It's 212. It is, it's an A5, if I remember what they said they were going to be. And this is how it works. So I've played this and ran it. I've ran it and I played it. I want to point out a few things here. We are going to highlight this. I am going to highlight this copy up. Highlights. We're going to do my orange that I do for everything. We're going to tone it down. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it's a little too bright. Let's tone it down one more, everybody. Let's tone it down a little bit more. A little bit more. God damn it. Do what I'm telling you to do. Want it around like 35. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's delete those out. All right. Good luck storming the castle. It's a lot of classes, yeah. So getting started, he went with some stuff with serifs on it because this is a knight-based one, and I have a lot of opinions on serifs in books. I know Nick is going to agree with me. If Allie was here, Allie would be agreeing with me as well. I should tell Allie. We need green to highlight? Fine. I like orange because I use it for everything and it stands out. But because that's just so... See how light that is? This green, maybe? There, we'll do that green. How's that? Does that make you happier? I always highlight in orange, Nick. 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 I always highlight in orange. Going back to it, not listening. So, one-player referees, we all know that. The start and scope. Every group that sits down to play the game is different. You should consider all your start and scope of the game before you begin. There are 3 starting levels, a wanderer, a courtier, and a ruler. This is like how old your knight is. And this determines your starting stats. It also determines if you have any holdings, like if you have a place that you live in, right? So it's pretty cool. You only rank up skills in this game as you age. And in between each episode, I believe a season passes. So like all the stuff that we love from like Game of Thrones when like a season passes, this does that. And that's actually how your character advances. Scopes and adventures, 1 session. A chronicle, a number of sessions. Number of sessions. Seasons and ages turns are planned out ahead of time. For 6 sessions, this might be a season turn at the end of each session and an age turn at the end of each winter. And then Saga, an indeterminate number of sessions where you can let players guide their scope as they explore the land. I love this because like if I'm going to run this as a stream, I could do a chronicle that like, let's say the chronicle is going to be 8 episodes, right? Or 7 episodes. And I can say we're going to do 3. We'll have a season pass after each episode. Then after a winter, we can do an age pass. And then that's when you get to kind of power up. Like you get to level up. It's skill up. I guess that's a better way. Skill up. Glory is what you're trying to seek. All knights seek glory that they might... Well, let me scroll this over so I can read it. That they might one day be deemed worthy of the city quest. Glory through myths. When a group feels that a myth has been resolved, reaching a conclusion of any type, all knights who played part of that myth gain glory. Glory by other means. In public duels or jousting, knights may stake glory against a willing opponent. The victor gains a glory. This, I love that this here is kind of like your experiences and what you're doing. You know what I mean? Fine. You know what, Nick? Can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think I agree with you. I feel like I'm destroying the book using orange. I can't believe I agree with you on this. I use orange in every book, man. Oof. That color? No, that's hard to read the text. That's too bright. I want this so that when I'm doing my recorded version afterwards, it's not my face. There we go. I just feel like that's hard to read the black in it. Don't you? I feel like it's too hard to read the black. I can take it down more. Like that, but that's like not even a highlight at that point. Let's try 20%. Yeah, I didn't like the neon green, though. It's not bad. That's kind of cool. That's not bad. It's hard to read. It fucks the serif up. Like, here's the neon one, just maxed. Yeah. Watch. Yeah, the serif does make it very difficult to read on screen. We were going to get to that. Sounds like the Taco Bell chime. What? Really? Did it just happen? I can barely hear the music. Hold on. Hold on. How far back, serving? How far back? Really? I don't hear it. Oh my God, that does something to the Taco Bell chime. Oh, that is fucking magical. It's at 54:19 in this song. 54:19. Taco Bell, baby. Wow. Remember when Taco Bell used to be good? Anyway. We'll try this. You know, I'm gonna say this. Maybe blue. Grays. Gold. Oh, the gold looks good. But I think my orange is my favorite. Maybe this gold? We'll go with this. So, glory by other means, in a public duel or a joust, knights may stake glory. We talked about that. Tournaments may also grant one glory to a winning knight, which I think is really cool. If battle is large enough to be remembered, you can also gain a glory if it's part of history. When the game moves to a new age, all knights gain a glory through serving the realm and maneuvering in court. And then your glory determines the rank of your knight. An errant, a gallant, a tenant, a dominant, and a radiant. And that determines how important you are, right? And then maybe if I bump this up one, maybe it's the actual... Yeah, I think it's actually the way that Adobe breaks down when you scroll. Or not scroll, when you determine the intensity. Let me try 160. So that's pretty cool. Worthiness, a rank alone doesn't immediately grant the Knight Council a position or a rule in a holding. It merely proves worthiness. You then have to, like, do your worthiness to get a hold, like, to get something. And the Knights travel together, which is fucking awesome. Look, this art, man. So, knighthood. You are a knight united by a common oath, the visions in the city. You may have dreams of glory, but every knight must accept the risk of death. Seers are a huge part of this game. Seers are kind of like who you go to for counsel, which is really cool. Seers knighted you have deemed that you travel as a company, which is you and the rest of your players. While some of you may rest, roam, or die, your collective journey must be as one. Fortnite Club. There's 3 major stats. You have vigor, clarity, and spirit. You use D20s when you're rolling on these, which is pretty cool. But this is the only time you use D20s in this game. The rest of the game uses dice pools, and it's one of the only fantasy games that make you, as a party, pool dice together to roll. It's cool. It's a collaborative event in combat and in scenes where you're doing like talking and whatnot. It's fucking collaborative. Dude. Oh, this game makes me so happy as a designer. So then you roll for guard. Guard, your skill at avoiding wounds. It's like how you don't take wounds. The start that you choose for your company determines the dice you roll. You roll or choose a knight on page 26. This gives property, ability, passion. So property is what the items you get. Ability is something special and unique to that knight. Passion is kind of like how you restore your spirit, because these 3 pieces take damage and you lose them as you play. Right? Every knight has a dagger, a torch, rope, dry rations, camping gear. Every knight gets these. This is important. I think we missed this when we ran and I saw it afterwards. Every knight knows 3 feats, which we'll get into. And every knight has a sworn oath. Right, Todd? Is there a Taco Bell night? Is there one? Not doing Joust tournament. Why not? I love Joust. So, seek the myths, honor the seers, protect the realm. That is all 3 things that every single knight must do. That's it. That's your goal. Seek the myths, honor the seekers, or honor the seers, protect the realm. Everyone has to do it. Sir Chalupa. I do love me a chalupa. So squires, small companies, 2 knights or fewer, may give each knight a squire. So like if you want to play with you and your friend, you just each get a squire. They serve as apprentices that are not yet knights, so cannot gain glory or perform feats. They get 2d6 for each virtue, 1 guard. They ride a pony with a vigor, a clarity, and a spirit, and carry a dagger. Roll a d6 for their extra equipment. Then you roll a d6 here. This is new. This wasn't in the original version that I played. They added this. I think this could also make an amazing solo or duo game. Like, for example, if our show that we run for this on Monday is 3 people and we don't have a guest star that week, they can simply have a squire that goes with them. Or always have a squire that falls in the background. Then when a guest shows up, the squire doesn't become important anymore, right? So the cudgel, an axe, a hatchet, a short bow, a shield, 3 javelins. When knighted, they gain a d6 to each of their virtues. So normally, if we go back to the other page, when you roll your characters up, it is really hard to read on. It's hard for me to read right now, by the way. If I scroll in one more, it's easier. I'm going to go to here. It's really hard to read for me too. This is easier, but it's blurry for me doing it that way. Notice you do 2d6 plus d6, right? When we go back to our squires only get 2d6. And they gain a d6 to make up for what they lost. Pretty cool. It's almost easier to read here, man. Serifs I have opinions on. Basic rules. Saves. So to pass a save, you roll d20 equal to or below your virtue, your 3 scores, which is important. Virtues can reduce and raise in a number of ways, but they can never go higher than 19 and never lower than 0. So obviously, that's your stats. Turns. A turn is enough time to move and then perform an action. Also always in that order. It is always move, then action, not action, then move. Very important. Surprise. Players normally take the first turn in combat, discussing their plans and acting in any order they wish. Characters who are not ready for combat must pass a clarity save, or miss the first turn. So that's how they handle surprise, which I actually pretty clean. It's like, how aware were you? Right? Reaction. Non-player characters react in the same way that feels appropriate for the current context. He's teaching you to GM in these moments. Exposed characters are caught with their guard down or otherwise defenseless are exposed and act as if they have a 0 guard because you're not defending yourself. And like, think about that for a minute. In D&D and in things like Pathfinder, all these D20 games that we've been playing for the last 20 years, let's just say since 2000, since 3.0, we've had flat-footed, which was like you don't get your dexterity, but you get your armor bonus. We've had touch attacks, which is, did I do that right? Touch attacks were dex only. Flat-footed was armor only. And then we had where they're like, no, we don't do that anymore. It's defense 10. And then we had, no, we don't do that anymore. You always get it, but you are at disadvantage. And they've done all these things for it. He has a guard mechanic that's essentially how much damage you reduce. Because I prefer armor as damage reduction than armor to hit. I've always been a fan of reduction. Because if you're dodgy, when you get hit, you should take more. My brain works that way. That's why I've always liked Cyberpunk. That's why I like Dragonbane, because your armor just reduces the damage you take instead of you dying. Like, Todd's character right now, when he's wearing his Manticore and he gets hit, he's like, yeah, man, I can take hits. I'm knocking, what is it, Todd, 6 off? Isn't that what you knock off? So I like that a lot. Exposed, if they remedy their situation, they're no longer exposed. Traps and ambushes typically catch people exposed. Feats, there's specific actions you can do. All knights get these, and they're very cool. There are ways to alter them depending on the knight that you get. Death, even the boldest knight can die. Sudden or unignorable death. Prepare yourself for this. When a knight dies, a player creates a new knight, and they add it to the company as quickly as possible. Alternatively, they may assume control of a squire or follower, and they gain the glory. So if you have a squire in the group and someone dies, they can take over, as we've been calling them, Sam, and they can take over Sam as a knight and pick up the mantle of that guy who died. Maybe he picks up the same exact role. Maybe he rolls another one and takes the armor and repaints it in the name of his family. Whatever he wants to do. 4 and 8. Like, 8's a lot, man. That means daggers. That means daggers and swords up to a D8 do not affect you. Guns will, because they knock it down by 2. So you can get shot up with guns, but even running into gunfire, you survive for a while. Pretty cool. Attacks. Take the attack dice noted on your weapons. So this is the pooling idea, everybody. And they're going to describe the pooling solo, and they're going to talk about it as a party. So you take the dice noted on your weapons, shield, and granted bonuses. Go through the following steps in order. All combatants attacking the same target roll their dice at the same time. So if you're all attacking, like a Hydra is my example, because a Hydra in this game is pretty cool, or a boar even. Everyone's attacking a boar. You all roll. If the target or their nearby allies can deny, which is on page 10, they can use it. Deny is a special feature. I would like to point out, hyperlinked. Hyperlinked, right? Let me scroll this back. Actually, I think it's control back. If you're ever in Adobe and you don't know what control, and the left arrow takes you back to the page you were on. Attackers may perform gambits, which are like special abilities based on what you roll. Take the highest die remaining. So everyone performs their gambits, and you take the highest die that's left behind. I think our group was doing it in reverse. We're like, what's the highest die? Let's use that. But you take the highest die and you put it out. That becomes the damage die. And then any extra damage from attackers who are bolstering an attack, add to it. So if I roll a d10 and I get a 10, and a 4 is considered a success, and an 8 is considered like a superior gambit or something like that, we'll get into it. You can either add +1 for a 4 or a +2 for an 8. And that's what they mean by bolster. So if I get a 1, you get a 4, I get an 8. We can add 3 to the damage if we want, or we can do other things with those, like gambits. Subtract the target's total armor score. The attack causes that much damage. Simple. Here's the breakdown. A knight with a d8 and a shield of a d4 is aided by an ally with 2 daggers, a d6 each. They roll the 8, the d4, and the 2d6 respectively. The dice show a 7, 3, 1, and 5. The highest die is a 7. The 5 is spent on a gambit to bolster, adding 1 to it, making it an 8. The target has 2 armor, a helm and shield, reducing the damage by 6. Done. That's it. So impaired attacks only do a d4. Like if you're tied up or bound or manacled, you only do a d4. Blast attacks target everybody in the area, rolling each one separately. Damage, the attack's damage is reduced from the target's guard. If they have at least 1 guard remaining, they evade the attack. That's how it works. If it leaves them with exactly 0 guard, they take a scar. 0 guard means scar. If it exceeds the target's guard, the excess is deducted from vigor, like physical wounds, and they are wounded. If they lose half or more of their remaining vigor, it's a mortal wound. So let's kind of encompass how this works for damage. If you get taken exactly to 0 guard, you take a scar. If you take more than that, you take a wound. If you take half of your vigor, you take a mortal. Pretty simple. We were taught this during 4th edition. We were taught that a lot of people use the bloodied rule in all of their games. It's a great way to indicate that you're at half health or lower. And then if damage reduces the target's vigor to 0, they're dead. Then you get into harm and scars. We are almost done with how combat works in this game. Just want to point out. That's how fast this fucking works. The rest of this book is the insanity of the Knights and Omens and how to run the game. Like, it is a masterclass in teaching people how to GM a game. I haven't talked about it yet, and I just got done talking about GMing on Corpse Talk yesterday. So, virtue loss. Virtues are those 3 things that we have: vigor, clarity, and spirit. Virtues may be reduced by the means of other damage, typically referred to as virtue loss. In addition to situations listed in the rules, characters may suffer virtue loss at the cost and consequence of an action. This is detailed in the action procedure on page 16. Victims are only slain or mortally wounded if the virtue was reduced by damage, never as a result of virtue loss. Harm and scars, eternity at law. Yeah, right? One of the ideas I had for the Land of Eam was an investigation group working for the Troll Law offices, but I just didn't like this setting enough to do it. So, Assassin for Hire? Harm and Scars, Assassin for Hire? So victims are only slain or mortally wounded if the virtues are reduced by damage, never by the result of virtue loss. So like if you get exhausted or something happens to you and it takes you to 0, you take on the condition of exhausted, under vigor, clarity, it's exposed, spirit, it is impaired. Okay? And they basically do different things to you. So if you are exhausted, you cannot attack if you move that turn. That's why the order of moving is important. That's why it's move, attack. You are exposed and treated as a 0 guard if your clarity is at 0. And then if you are impaired, you only roll a single d4 until your spirit's recovered. And then there are ways to recover these. If anyone's played like Mutant Year 0, the idea of recovering your stuff, or Cypher System, recovering those pools is dope. Guard, fatigue, and virtues. If fully restored with just a moment of peace after danger has passed, fatigue is removed that way. If you can recover your guard. Virtues can be restored by 3 means: consuming a specific type of remedy, performing a specific action, or skipping to a new season. So I love that one of the healing options is just fucking time. Like, this is genius. But it's so simple. Vigor is restored by consuming a sustenance or spending a full day in a warm hospitality. So like an inn, a bed, whatever, a hot springs while you're traveling. Clarity is restored by consuming a stimulant, coffee, or something similar to that, or receiving guidance from a seer, because you can always go seek out guidance from a seer in a hex. We'll get into that when we talk about the hex crawl stuff. Spirit is restored by consuming sacrament, or indulging in a passion. If you're an artist, if you like to fuck, whatever your passion is, that's how you get spirit back. Like, dude, I need to watch Excalibur again. I want to do a movie night soon in Discord, I think. Is anyone down to watch Excalibur? Have you guys all seen the movie Excalibur? It's a classic for night stuff. Like, if I run this, I want to do Excalibur, A Knight's Tale, and a couple other of night movies I would like to run. I think it'd be fun. I might do that. Maybe I'll do that this... You know what? This is the last show, because we go into May. Dragonheart is fantastic, Stardrew. I agree. Maybe we will... Maybe I'll do movie nights this week. I'm not opposed. Remedies. A single remedy is a sizable bundle of materials and tool. A person can dedicate Beasts of Burden, can only carry 1 at a time, because remedies are a lot. Using a remedy requires a whole phase of the day, and is more about the ceremonial act and material components themselves. The virtue is restored before resolving any omens or other encounters, because there's a process when you enter a hex, how you handle it. A single remedy is enough to benefit all company present. So it's like a ritual that you go through, whatever the ritual is for you and yours. Scars. take the die that caused the scar and roll it again. Consult the table below. The specific for the specific scar cause. So like if a D12 caused it. So I love this. This is a mechanic that's like elegantly simple. So like let's say that last hit that hit you was a D6. Someone in the chat roll me a D6. And then someone else roll me a D12. Let's say you got hit by a short sword and the other one was a halberd. So give me a D6 and give me a D12. And then we'll go through the scar table. Virtue lost through scars is not damage, so cannot mortally wound or slay a victim. Scars are only gained through real deadly combat, not training or bloodless duels. It's only through murder. Only through murder. So the D6 is a 1. Distressed. Lucky escape. Lose only a D6 spirit. All right. That's what we got for that one. And then what we got for the D12. D12 was a 3. Smash. A sudden spray of blood. Lose D6 vigor. Now, let's say that 12 would have got us this one. The most glorious stroke when you achieve revenge. If your max guard is 12 or less, increase it by a D6. Like it's a scar, but it's dropping story. It's the idea of like, I will find the man who took my hand and I will fucking murder him. And then when you do, you get something amazing out of it. I love that the scars are like, the really bad ones are for story. Mutilation, a limb is rendered lost or useless. Roll a D6. Tells you what happened. Leg, shield, sword arm. By the next season, you have a prosthetic or have learned to get by. If your max guard is 10 or less, increase it by a D6. So it's like this fun, like the scars are making you. I could see somebody very easily coming up with some more scar tables specific to story. Like if I put out an adventure or a hex, like I could see hex packs coming out for this. Yes, serving hands. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So pretty fun. I love the scar system. So now we're going to get into the specifics of combat. And then we're going to start looking through, I believe, hex crawl. Then after hex crawl, we go into the sweetness. We go into the knights and the omens. So feats. Every knight can do these feats. These feats here. I hate when this. Why is the highlighting in text sometimes just such a bitch? These feats are all acts that you can perform as a knight. After using a feat, the user must pass a save or become fatigued, unable to perform feats until they rest. Each feat can only be used once per attack by a combatant. You can use feats just one after another until you fail. Very similar to how spells work in Shadow Dark, except once you fail one, you can no longer use feats for the day. Smite, release your righteous fury, used before rolling an attack. The attack gains either a D12 or a blast. Remember, blast, it hits everybody. So you do like this holy light and everyone gets hit, or it's a huge swing with your maul that hits everyone around you, whatever it may be. Passing a vigor save or become fatigued. It's a risk reward. Focus, create an opening to exploit. Use after rolling an attack. Perform a gambit without using a die. So remember, gambits happen on 4 and 8 on dice. 4 plus 8 plus for a better gambit. And you can do that. You have to do a clarity or you become fatigued. Rebuff an attack before it lands. Use an attack roll against you. Use after an attack roll against you or an ally within arm's reach. Discard 1 attack die from the roll. Pass a spirit save or become fatigued. So you parry, like an incoming great sword that's coming down. You can parry that D12 die and tell it to get fucked. But they still have like a buckler on or something, or a dirk that they throw at you after hitting you with that you can't stop. You can pick one of the dice and you're like, no, that dice can eat the dick. Awesome. And remember, community combat. So again, like that Hydra situation, if a head comes down to bite, and it gets 3d10 because it has 3 heads, and the Hydra head comes down to bite you, you parry the one head out of the way so it doesn't kill one of the knights, while the rest of your party dashes underneath you to attack. You get these real little cinematic scenes that people, once they start realizing, like I found 2 rounds of rolling dice and everybody just started glomming on the idea of how do we make this a cinematic scene. So, attackers may discard any number of dice for gambits of 4 or higher to perform a gambit, each causing one of the following effects. So let me highlight gambits, because when I go back through here, I want to talk about it. The affected foe must be a target of the original attack. For gambits other than bolster and move, the target receives a vigor save to ignore the effect. So they get to roll the vigor. So bolster is a +1 of damage. Move is after the attack, even if you've already moved or unable to move. So after the attack, even if you already moved or unable to move. So you can hit, bolster, move again. That's why the importance of move attack is in this, because it's move, attack, cast it, use a gambit, move again. So you can jump and hit somebody, jump back. Or if you're jousting, you can run through somebody and continue and circle back. That's why that's important. The other things you can do are repel, to kick a foe away from you, stop a foe from moving, impair a weapon on the next turn, like pin it to the ground, a wall, whatever, like a weapon on their next turn, you impair it. Trap a shield on your next move. You can put a shield to the ground so you can keep slugging somebody. Dismount a foe, or other effect of a similar level of impact. So then you're like, hey, GM, I want to knock them into the rope so they're tangled. Done. If the die is 8 or higher, so now you're talking D8, D10, D12, because there's no D20 other than saves. If it's 8 or higher, you can do a strong gambit, and then no save. That's important. So perform, and the attacker chooses one of the following. No save is granted to the target. You can't get it. Greater effects, such as disarming an item, breaking a wooden shield or weapon, or removing a helm. This does not increase the damage from bolster. Those are the things you can do. That's like a greater gambit. Minor actions like changing weapons, dismounting, stuff like that. I think we learned through 3.0 the idea of the free action is important in action economy. Bonus attack die. These are gained from useful information, shrewd preparations, tactical advantage. A D8 is the typical bonus. I was missing this the first time I rolled it. I didn't quite know what it was. I just missed that, but now that I know, I kind of want to make a GM screen for this. I think this game deserves a GM screen. There was not one in the Kickstarter. And this is finally in print. Like, I think I'm getting this next month, the physical copy. And if you have Into the Odd or anything, you know all the stuff he puts out. It's fucking gorgeous. So unarmed combat. Unarmed attacks are impaired unless an attacker is got suitable natural weapons, claws, or something like that. Impaired means you're rolling a d4, for those who don't remember. Ranged combat. You guys are talking about arrows and stuff. Purely ranged weapons cannot be used if the attacker began their turn engaged in melee. Protective cover grants an additional point of armor, so you just get a point of armor. Mounted combat, which is huge in this, and since it's a hex crawl, unlike most games, mounted combat's really common. Mounted combatants use their steeds' trample die in addition to their own weapons when charging enemies on foot. This does not work against spear walls. So he specifies that spear walls in mounted combat are bad because running into a bunch of spears as a mounted combat person means you're going to get fucked up. Steeds can be targeted separately from attacks. Being dismounted causes a d6 damage. If this occurs in combat, add to the existing dice. So if someone hits you with a gambit and knocks you off using one of those gambit rolls, they then roll a d6 immediately and add that to the total. Duels and jousts. Two combatants can mutually agree to engage into a duel or a joust if mounted. They fight as normal, but their attacks are rolled and resolved simultaneously, including the effects of gambits. Both combatants can use feats before the attacks are resolved. So you can use a feat before. Pretty sweet. Stardrew, you're gonna love. That's a great question. I hope we get a horse for free starting. You know what? You're gonna like. The knights in this are nuts. For those who have seen me look through this before, it's nuts. This is just finally the full version with all the art. Shield wall and spear walls. 3 or more allies may form a wall formation if they all bear shields, not bucklers, and then they gain an additional point of armor so knights can lock shields. If they all bear spears or similar pole arms, something along those lines, the enemies cannot charge them, which is sweet. And then wavering morale. Individuals who are wounded or groups who lose half their numbers must pass a spirit save to avoid routing or surrender. Organized group roll once using their leader's spirit. Disorganized group roll for each person. So he even went far enough to put warfare in, because why? Well, I mean, it's knighted stuff. Warfare is going to be a big part of the game. Warband, 24 or so combatants fighting together are treated as a single warband. So if you got a bunch of people and you're going to battle into a hex, you got this. When they are mortally wounded, they are routed from battle. At Vigor, they're wiped out entirely. So they got this whole thing. Warbands attacks against individuals receive a plus D12 and cause blast because they are a group run. Look at this art, though. Look at this. Dude, all of this guy's art is fucking godlike. Like, this artist just like gets it. Todd, I don't think you saw this piece. I don't think it was in the original. But a dude getting skewered, still moving, and then the hand behind him, and it's like the fingers of war. A fucking trebuchet, a guy mounted, a fucking castle, people taking an arrow to the head, and this. Dude. And the fucking like flower fields. I don't know, man. There's just something about the art in this. Like it is Arthurian, but it's its own. If this doesn't win in any, I will be pissed. Like this deserves an any for art, 100%. It's just so fucking good. So leading from front, I think it's one of the best art books ever for tabletop RPGs. Like I have a hard time thinking of something that isn't great. This artist had to cover for another artist, and I swear it was the best thing that could have happened in this book. No, I thought that's not my understanding. The artist got sick, and everything got delayed. Did they change artists in the beginning? Is that something that actually happened? Because I know the artist that did all this got ill. And the same artist did all the art. I don't remember it switching. Was that at the beginning of the project? Because if so, man, what a odd blessing in disguise. So leading from the front, back to the warfare. An individual with a warband can add their attack dice to a warband's attack roll, leading from the front. If they do so, they suffer the same damage that the warband would. So you can be like a leader. Wooden stone. This is cool. I actually like that title for this. Ships and structures are destroyed at 0 GD, which is guard. Recovering guard takes a day of repair, so you can repair. Wooden structures and ship ignore attacks other than from fire, siege weapons, or suitably large creatures. It was earlier before he got sick. Are you sure? So the guy who got sick is the replacement. So like there was someone before him or before them. That person couldn't do it. The new person picked up. They took it. Then they got sick. Is that how that went? So it was like original artist replaced. Guy comes in, got sick, still finished the project. Did I say that right? Because then that's news to me. I did not know that. I want to bring Chris on to interview. So stone walls cannot be breached, but by conventional means, their gates are usually a viable target. Gate, 5 guard, 8 armor 2, rampart, 10 guard, A2, castle, 10 guard, A3. A3 is a lot. It really is. Armor 3 is big. Colliding ships take D12 damage. If one ship is much larger than the other, it takes D6 damage instead. Rowboat, they give you all the breakdowns. Like, this is great. This is so fucking simple, but it makes it fast but impactful. Instead of dragging things out, I think I'm tired of dragged out combat. Huh. I didn't realize that. I thought it was one artist for the whole thing. Artillery and siegery, all the breakdown for that. Hold on, we're on page 11. I want to check something here. I want to check on something here. I thought it was one artist. Yeah, it's one person. One. That's cool. Recruitment. You can recruit. God damn it. I'm gonna go left to right from now on. Soldiers are drawn from loyal vassals, knights that share a cause, mercenaries who have agreed a price. It ended that way for sure. Gotcha. That makes a lot more sense. For people who are watching, I'm gonna put Nick's stuff on screen here real quick, just so people know what we're talking about. We're talking about the art right now for Mythic Bastionland and the process of what happened and why we ended up the way that we did, which really, like Nick just said, is one of the best fucking things that can happen because this guy's art is outstanding. May take half a shift, 15 to 30 minutes, but knights could make spikes to hold a spotter area. Yeah, sure. Yeah, things like that are definitely feasible. So you can do recruitment, war bands, right? Militia, crude, skirmishers, shortbow. Like, this gives you an idea of how to make war bands. And then we get into arms and goods. This is your purchasing table. I'm not going to go through all these. We'll kind of touch on them, but trade, only the rich deal in coins. Most trade in exchange for raw materials, goods, and services. Very medieval feel. Frequent trades often grow into ongoing pledges and service cooperation. This makes me think about how I want breachers to have trade more than money. And I might be adding some stuff into services. It is why I made breacher coin. Because you're getting paid for going into the wall, but you're just getting paid a coin versus paid in a bunch of gold you have to carry around. That value is hard to carry. But carrying these flat, fatter coins in a pouch, and you turn those into the Breachers Guild, basically you're paid for your time in the wall, which I like. Simply, if you hope to trade, you could have a good answer to the question, what can I offer that would be of value? And this gives you a breakdown. I'm going to mark trade as something to mention. Wielding weapons. If no type is noted, assume the weapon uses one hand and has no restrictions. Hefty weapons. So he added these finally. Hefty weapons require one hand. Only one hefty weapon can be wielded at once. Long weapons require both hands and are impaired in confined environments. Slow weapons cannot be used if the attacker has moved this turn. They are also long. Oh. That's new. We were trying to figure out what this did. So that means if someone charges you and you got a slow weapon like a maul, they have to be on you. So that means if they're using a gambit moving in and out, you need to use a gambit to knock them prone. Huh. And then hit them. That's a really, like, the mountain versus what was it, the snake? What was the name of Pedro Pascal's character? Where he crushes the fucking eyes out of him. Common weapons. Hefty tools, long tools, hand weapons. That's really cool. Slings. Okay, this is awesome. Uncommon, short sword, lance, brutal weapons. 2d4 slow, great axe and maul. Or sorry, 2d10. You're gonna kill somebody. What does a greatsword fall under? I guess it's probably just long weapons. Hand weapons, hefty, spear, mace. Where's a flamberge come in? Is that in here? I guess that'd be long sword traditionally. Great sword, here it is. 2d10. Wow. The Viper. Thank you, Serving Hands. Thank you, Viper. Mountain versus the Viper. That's what that reminds me of. Specialist weapons. Take an existing common or uncommon weapon with a D8 or D10 in a specific situation. Make it a category rarer. Oh, that's kind of cool. And then they break down wearing armor. One of each armor type, coat, plates, helm, shield, can be worn. So you can stack them, because that's actually how plate mail works. Common armor, shield. Uncommon armor, coat, mail, gambeson, flexible armor, suitable for general wear beneath plates. Helm. So like when you take your plate mail off, you're wearing a coat, right? And it still gives you an A1. Helm, kettle, nasal, bucket, cough. Plates, tools, common, uncommon, rare. Like alchemy and crystal balls, because remember, there's seers in this, right? Beast, hound, sheep, pony, mules. Uncommon, ox, hawk, riding steed, heavy steed. Rare beast, a charger, which I think a charger is a rhino or something like that. Then there's remedies and poisons. Then they got your people and realms, how you can get service, what's common from them, what's an uncommon, like an herbalist. They can repair to guard. Knows treatments, not cures. You can get a soldier and arm with 6 guard. Really simple things that you can pick up. Like if you go into a hex, like we have to go fight this dragon, or we have to go fight this giant. I need to hire some people who can fight. Let's get the local soldier at arms. I have glory. Let's convince them to come with us to save their vassal, their area. Super fun. Realms. A world is fractured into petty realms, each ruled from a seat of power. Smaller holdings are walled settlements tended by vassals, guarded by knights. Most that lies between is wilderness. Fun description. Myths are stories that became truths or are destined to come to pass. Nobody agrees on the details, but every version is true in some way. There's no such thing as just a myth. Not in this game, because remember, part of our thing is seeking the myths. We're looking for them. As a knight, that's one of our 3 things. Protect the lands, consult the seers, and then seek out the myths. Roles. Most fall into the 4 roles. Vassal, vagabond, knight, or seer. A web of seniority exists within and between each. Vassals serve a ruler, typically a knight, in return for protection. Vagabonds roam, working for and protecting only themselves. Seers are the really weird people. Wait till you see the seers in this game. They're fucking nuts. Like, the seers are... Oh, God, I don't even know how you would explain them. Like... Merlin wouldn't be a seer. Like, what would be a seer from a movie? Labyrinth. The thing with the hands for eyes, or eyes on his hands, that would kind of be like a seer in this game. Yeah. Weird shit. Those who understand the nature of the myth enough glimpse into the future, their visions grant legitimacy and direction to a knight's quest. They know when a squire is ready to become a knight. So like if you die, so someone dies, they pick up playing the squire. The next thing could be like, let's go see a seer and get Sam turned into a knight. A seer can dub them and know if they're worthy or if they need to do more. They know when a squire is ready to become a knight and when a knight is ready to seek the city. Yeah, the ogre from Pan's Labyrinth. Yeah. A knight, those who take an oath are held to esteem, but exceptions burden them. They rely on their arms, but are expected to know their customs of peace. Usually one knight holds each title. And then when they retire or die, they pass it on. I was running one, there was a moth knight that was passing down its lineage after it passed. I was playing with Allie, Raven. Who was the other person who was playing? Diana and Adam. We were testing the game. We did like 3 sessions or 2 sessions. And they were dealing with the moth knight. And I rolled that. It was really cool because we were playing ETHAUNTIA Superstitions, and moths were kind of like our icon for it. So I was super happy about that. Knights, those who take the oath are held in esteem, but expectations burden them. So that's pretty cool. Faith, here we go. I already read the knight part. Some believe there are truths in the sky, stars, moon, sun, position, and motion. So that's an idea of astrology, astronomy, and then of course just faith in something. Looking to nature, turning the seasons, all that kind of stuff like your Wildman. And then the belief for sacred stories that we myths guiding us to the city. The city is like the grail in this almost. And then for the GM, this is for all the GMs out there, he breaks down creating a realm. Now I'm using hex roll. If you don't know what that is, let me pull this up. Where is hex to roll? I don't remember what the fuck the name of the... It's not called hex to roll. It's called something else. Is it pen, paper, dice? Yes, pen, paper, dice. Okay, so let me pull this up for you guys really quick. If you're going to run this, I highly recommend backing this dude's Patreon. Highly recommend it. This gentleman is doing Hex Roll 3 right now. He just announced on March 3rd, I think this was, that's coming out. It's a super cost-effective membership. I back it because I want to be a part of this. But he generates random hex maps, and it even fills everything in. I haven't looked at this live on air yet. Let me see if I can pull up my version of it. I've been saving this. I've been wanting the third version to come out. I'm going to take this down because I might have to log in. Let me log in with my Patreon. I knew it was going to make me log in. Allow. And it's on Hex Roll 2. And Hex Roll 3 is coming out. So, let me... Hopefully I don't, like, delete mine or fuck it up at all, but I don't think I will. So, this is Hex to Roll 2nd edition. You can roll a sandbox. There's a bunch of docs on it. You can roll a solo sandbox, which I have not done yet. That's new. He has all of his great information on it and makes them, and each one of the hexes you can zoom down into, and it goes all the way down into map dungeon crawl. It even makes random cities for you using Watchboo. You can play offline if you want to download the whole thing for yourself. You can edit and re-roll things if you don't like what's in it. There's online VTT maps with dynamic lighting for it, and then there's a solo mode now, which is online only and have revealed to you as you crawl from hex to hex. Most spoilers in the text will be masked as well. So let me just click one so you can see how this works. So you can pick your template of what you want. Like I can say I want a kingdom. Let's say that I want 5, 4, 1. I want a palm tree, and I would like some snow. Right? I'd like some snow. Generate dungeons 6 to 9, sure. Caves 1. Temples. I want more tombs. We'll do 2 tombs. I prefer small dungeons. I think that makes more sense for what we're doing. It's just because you're soloing, you don't want to go through a big one. You can set all this stuff up and you just hit generate. This is a fucking great program. So choose the starting point. Welcome to your solo sandbox, and you pick. I'm like, ooh, what do I want to do? Ooh, the city. I want to be in a town. A village? A town? We'll do town. We'll do here. I want to start here. And then now it gives you all your information, right? So if I click this, it zooms and shows you where your area is. And then it tells you your food and everything that is there, your lodging and everything that is available. Everything. Everything. And then notice for this one, it marks out this section so you can't see it. But if you scroll over it, it'll tell you what it is. And then there's a rumor table. So like, let's say we rolled a 4. I scroll over it takes a minute, and then it tells me there's a red dragon in the shrine of the deadly goblin. Well, what's that? If you click it, it'll zoom us out, and it shows you the foreshadowing, right? Which is pretty cool. So, really fun set piece. I highly recommend, if you're going to do any of this kind of stuff, to back this guy's Patreon if you're interested in doing solo, or if you're interested in doing any form of group hex crawl. I'll put this up here. This is Hex to Roll. I cannot recommend it enough. I think it's one of the best hex-based generators that's out there for doing fantasy stuff. Most of it is OSR, but it's easy to convert it into your own things as well. And you can edit everything that's in there. Super fun. So back to what we were doing. So, yeah, hex maps. Breaking the rules. The guidelines on this page make for a typical realm, but they cannot be bent. They can be, bent or broken. And then this is the idea of like how you roll up your hex. It's a 12 by 12 grid is typical. Whether the realm is landlocked or coastal, whatever, it's up to you. Typically, the players get a copy of the map with their holdings and general terrain marked. They cannot see the myths, the landmarks, or the barriers. They don't know. The distance covered by each hex is a hex league. This is a fun conversation. Commonly called a hex. This distance represents a few loose factors. The area a hill fort can overlook, an area that a guard can patrol in a day, a return hike to a neighboring hex gets you home before dark. Great concept of time and travel using the hex this way. Like, he asked himself, what is a hex? Like, how would I describe time in a hex? And how would I describe what you can see? See everything from a fort? You can travel. And then you know the neighboring hex, you're home. Right? Most hex are wilderness with a variety of certain terrains. Spark tables, this is why I say spark tables. It's the cause of this. We'll get into those when we get to 22. And this is all the stuff you need to set up. And when you place this as a GM, you start by placing 4 holdings a good distance apart. These are typically castles, walled towns, fortresses, or towers held by knights or influential vassals. Most of the realm lives within their walls or surrounding hex. Super fun. I feel like Squad Octopus would be cheating in this night world. I don't know what that is. Oh, a squid, you mean? I mean, you don't want to be on water. There is rules for some of that stuff in here, though. Designated 1 hold as a seat of power. That's like the head of the kingdom. Myth hexes. You then take 6 myths, which we're going to get into, and you scatter them throughout, right? Number them 1 to 6. The hexes are clearly affected by the presence of a myth. Landmarks. Some wilderness hexes contain a landmark. These are discovered when travelers roll a 4 or a 6. On the wilderness roll, a typical realm has 3 or 4 each type of a landmark. Mark them with their initial or an icon. Even characters who know the landmark's location must still make wilderness roll checks for omens as they travel there. Each landmark type covers a range of specific features and prompts provided on a night and a myth pages later in this book. The course of the game may create new landmarks or remove or alter existing ones. So dwellings, sanctums, monuments, hazards, curses, ruins are the kind of things you find. And then you can add detail using Spark Realm, and distant realms are usually bordered by water, mountains, or wasteland, kind of design things. So for my mappers out there, sites. Nick, I don't know if you've ever seen this style of putting together a travel map, but it's fucking pretty genius. And it's similar to what I was doing for similar to what Veins of the Earth does for how you handle a cave. You do a slice and you're looking into the cave, and then there's a hexagon that kind of shapes it out. Or no, theirs is a diamond. A knight's journey largely focuses on traveling great distances to seek the guidance of seers and uncover myths. However, on occasion, there may be a need to zoom in on a single hex or a specific site within a hex in more detail. Sites can be created as areas that warrant more detailed exploration, whether ancient tombs, hostile castles, twisting caverns, or misty woods spanning the entire hex. While they can be plotted out with any number of traditional methods, this is a quick hex-based method. I'm not going to break all of this down right now. Maybe if I end up doing this as our next live show, I will do a couple sessions of like building this stuff on Horizon Design. But the short version is you're drawing a hex, right? A hexagon on the map, and then you're filling it with different markers, and these are the markers. And they all determine paths of travel, hidden entrances, or like the dotted lines. And they kind of teach you things you have to overcome. If you put a line, that's something you have to overcome. And then circles and triangles mean different things. Neighboring points can be connected with 3 types of routes. And you can see they're kind of connecting things together. Really fucking cool concept to map this, like a mind mapping of a hex. I really enjoyed this. And all this stuff can be traveled to in a day. So like you're going through this whole thing in a day and you're done. And it's a 1-sheet write-up. It's an elegant solution to having numerous hexes on a map and how to handle it when you need to go in. He teaches you how to referee. That's what you're called in this as a GM. I think a storyteller would be better, but he calls him refereeing. I think it's a personal preference. But you know, you're the person running the show. They talk about actions. Says past actions taken by players supersede content generator prop rules. He's teaching you what I like to call the Magic the Gathering stack. How the stacks work in Magic. He's basically telling you it doesn't matter what you're doing. All actions taken by players supersede because they're the ones crafting the new story. Remember the core of giving players information, honoring their choices, and describing the impact of their actions. So he breaks down each one of the things that you're involved in doing. This is a great 1-sheet you can print and just stick in whatever you're using to run your game. So you kind of keep yourself in check. I do think it's important to understand how you're supposed to be running the game designed by somebody else. So prompts, luck rolls. If you need to consult a whim, it's the Jamie roll, Todd. It's the Jamie roll. If you need to consult the whims of fate, make a luck roll on a d6. A high roll favors the player, a low one does not. In general, use these guidelines. Consult the dice. I'll never forget Jamie doing that. That will forever be embedded in my memory of gaming. Especially when he was asleep, woke up, rolled dice. 4. Went right back to sleep. Really cool thing. Action procedure. Let the dice decide. That's right, Tom. Let the fucking dice decide. If you don't know, it's the dice. And it's like a words of wisdom from Jamie every time, even though it was nothing wise about it. I need to see him. I haven't seen him in years, man. If he comes to town, Todd, we should all meet up out here and like go get lunch with like we used to. Maybe go visit some gaming stores. There's a bunch of new gaming stores that open up out here. I would love to do that. Action procedure, intent, leverage, cost, risk, impact. This is pretty cool. I don't think a lot of people break down the process. When players take action, the referee works down this list. Intent, what are you trying to do? Leverage, what makes it possible? Cost, would it use a resource, cause virtue loss, or have a side effect? Risk, what's the risk? No risk, no roll. No risk, no roll. And then otherwise, make a save or a luck roll. I was at his house a year ago. Yeah. I'd like to see him, man. We should get together and play a game. Does he even game anymore? That's probably even a better question, Todd. I should message him and just reach out. It's been so fucking long. Miss the guy. Success. When a player succeeds a significant action, the referee does one of the following. Advance, disrupt, or resolve. Failure, what happens. Impact, what happens. Ending the session. Okay, this is important. A wrap-up, right? I wish this had a box around it. I feel like people will just forget this stuff. Like, what's the wrap-up? Like, what is the... I call them aftermath notes for me, but at the end of each session, discuss if it would feel right for a season or age to pass between now and the next session. Finish the hex. We've been playing. We've been traveling. Hey, do we want a season to pass? Do we want to do some time passage? Everyone's like, yeah, let's do time passage. If a season or age passes, then follow the procedure detail. Ask the players if they have any plans or ambitions for the next season. Sorry, next session. This gives your direction for any preparation you want to do. He breaks down time and like what his phases are. Morning, afternoon, or night. That's how you handle time stuff. Like this is time. Each year has 3 seasons, not 4. This is different than what we're used to. Right? Spring, harvest, winter. Each life has 3 ages, young, mature, old, which is cool. Breakdown, young, mature, old. Green, always learning, seasoned, and the golden years. Gray, considering their legacy. When a character becomes mature, they re-roll their virtues, each one, and you get a d12 plus a d6, and you keep the higher result as you get better. When the character becomes old, they re-roll each virtue, d12 plus d6, and keep the result of the lower because you're aging out. Old characters lose a d12 vigor at the end of each age. If this takes them to 0, they die peacefully. This is an amazing way to age a character out. Like you're showing the time lapse of a character. I don't know, man. Like there's just something about playing the old Conan, going out to save his kingdom one last time, right? I don't know. This always reminds me of like action heroes finally leaving action franchises and passing the torch to someone else. This is that moment that I feel like doesn't get done right all the time. I just like how this is done. It's really cool. Advancing time, none, weeks, months, years. So he teaches you how to handle this stuff, what to do. Do a pilgrimage? Is there a courtesy? Is there a service you do during those downtimes? Then he breaks down travel, which is huge because we're doing trekking through hexes. He breaks this all down in a real clean way. Trek is a hex. A gallop, you can do 2 hexes. On a non-exhausted steed, but it loses a d6 vigor, so you can go 2 hexes if you're really moving. Cruise is hexes by boat, since we talked about squids and octopi earlier. So 3 hexes by boat or by steed on a rarely found proper road. If you actually get a road, you can haul ass. And then they got things like hospitality, sleeping indoors does not make a wilderness rule. Manners dictate the hospitality granted by traveling knights. Camping when sleeping outdoors. How supplies work night. Like, but again, this is a fucking one sheet. Just one. Which I love. Winter. Anybody camping or traveling at night in winter loses a D6 figure. Yeah, that's real. Realms also risk dire weather during winter. Also real. Omens, those are when you put myths out and you kind of like, these areas have myths. And then each myth has 6, like you're doing a myth and it has 6 omens listed in order in which they are encountered. So like, as you're crawling through the amount of hexes that have a myth, this is my understanding, omens reveal themselves as you're going through. Each myth has 6 omens listed in order in which they're encountered. The first encounter with a specific myth is always Omen 1. Second, Omen 2, and etc. Remember primacy of action on page 16. If the players want to hunt for the wyvern's nest, they don't have to wait for the omen to appear. They take action themselves. So if they're like, we're going after this omen, then it just happens. There's no roll. You just fucking do it. Myth hexes. Ending a phase in a hex containing a myth always reveals its next omen without making a wilderness roll. Because you don't want to hide story behind a die roll. If you want to have it happen, this is telling you just do it. Barriers. Travel through a barrier is not normally possible, though locals might know a way. Attempting to travel through a barrier wastes the phase of the day, but still causes a wilderness roll. Barriers are like huge walls, impassable terrain, things like that. Mountain ranges that divide, a river that's so wide without a boat, shit like that. Can't swim it, you're in armor, horses, so on. Other traveling tables result in things as well, like traveling blind, you circle back, you drift, whatever it may be. And then exploration, lay of the land, what you can do during those actions, which is just cool because I don't think it's taught very often how to do exploration. It's like a full breakdown. The actions you do. And I really think PF2 tried to do this with their exploration because they had 3 modes of play. God, let's see if PF2, if I can remember this. It was exploration, encounters, and downtime. And I feel like they just left a lot of it and didn't do a new book for it. Maybe a new book has come out since I've stopped running it constantly. Maybe a new book has come out fulfilling that more. I just think they put it there to have it there as a thought and never went back to it. Todd would know better than I do because I know he's still playing a lot of PF2 games. Again, no shade on PF2. I don't know if they added it. I do like PF2. I actually really enjoy it as a player. I don't enjoy it as much as a GM. So gathering folklore, how you can do that. Omen 2 describes stuff and they kind of break down what an omen is. Again, amazing art. They talk about dominion. Ruling a domain. Eventually you get domains in areas and they break down what a council is, what a court is, and how to run them and what to do with them, what a crisis is that happens. The seat of power, dude, look at this. I know I'm zooming in really far, it's getting pixely. I love this. I think the seat of power that's kind of covered is such a cool concept there. Authority, this about mustering forces. Look at this. Everyone knows I love towers. I'm a big fan of a tower. If I could live in a tower, I'd fucking do it. There's something visual about a tower that I really enjoy. And if I could do the classic like chimney fireplace at the bottom floor with a chimney that goes through, maybe another one here and there, and if I could live in a tower, I would fucking do it. Tower life, baby. That would be like my dream. I don't know why. I'd probably stay in ones and fucking hate it. But my dream would do that. I love the Wizard's Tower. I love the concept. I love Merlin's Crooked Tower and Disney. Like, there's just something about the iconic vision of a tower that just, I don't know. It's something I've always enjoyed. So, little moment there. Mustering troops, taxes, tithes, and levies, like what you do. Drama in court, which I love courtesan stuff. And then succession, typically a ruler names their successor, though some realms differ. sometimes you decide by seers do it. Sometimes the knight elector does it. Really cool. And then these are spark tables. And I tell people for spark tables, pre-roll a couple for what you're going to do, so you're not like resulting, rolling, that kind of thing. Or if you want it to be dramatic, I think spark table is a great form of drama. Like each hex I wouldn't roll. I would just kind of roll for the scene unless there's a reason to change it. But it's great D12 tables. This guy's got a love for D12s. But if you roll like a 10, the land is a 10. It is vivid. The sky that day, there are glittering rays of sunlight coming through. And if you get to a water area, you can say, yeah, for some reason it is frosted here and churning underneath the ice. I would print this table and just have it next to me. Again, it's one of those ones that I would do. How's the weather today? It's thin sunlight outside. It's kind of overcasted and it's not the best. The flora through here is sturdy grasses that are thick, like crabgrass. It just helps you evoke a story with 2 fucking words to spark the beginning of what you need. And he does them for civilization. I love the civilization ones too. I want to buy some food. All right, well, this place is known for like fermented fucking mushrooms. Oh, yeah, well, that's what they have here. That's all they can grow. The land is garbage. Like, it just immediately gives you something. Immediately gives you something. So I love these. People, same thing. You have to roll like knights and vassals and stuff like that, and you're trying to figure out what somebody is. You can say they are like, let me do this. I'm gonna do this live. As I did this during my game. Let me grab my D12s here. I'm sorry if I'm loud because I'm leaning into the camera. All right, we're gonna go through this. So I got a 9 and a 12. He's a soft, elegant. I'll do male and female, even odds. Oh, sorry, she's a soft, elegant. What is it? Smooth. She's soft and elegant with a smooth, kind of detached, ethereal voice. Her personality is a little unstable, but musically inspired. She seems to talk about playing music all the time. She's currently, currently sworn to a mentor. Her music teacher is the person that she deals with daily and refuses to leave the confines of the school. But she knows the stuff that you're looking for right now, and she is tasking the group right now to mend a local bridge so that her and her mentor can get out of this school to bring information on what they found on some previous history and heraldry of music. Like, done. I don't know, man. Works great. Combat spark tables, super cool. Yeah, we're doing a duel. I got a 2 and a 5. Swords in a maze. We're doing a duel in a maze. The first to find each other, the duel will happen, and like everyone else is walking on the towered walls and looking down as the knights are going through the maze, and people are fucking screaming at them to find the center area to do a fight. Like, there's just something about it. But now we get to the part. All right, everybody. If you have not been looking at the screen and you've just been listening to me yammer, this is the part where you want to be paying attention, because we're gonna look through how knights work. So you roll a d6 and a d12. Can I have the audience roll me a d6 and a d12, please? We are going to roll a knight. We're going to go to a knight, and I'm going to show you how they work. All of these are hyperlinked. Yes. I just want to roll a knight. A random one. D6 and a D12, audience. Pretty cool. So each knight can be used for a player character or a non-player character knight who are encountered wandering or ruling. Generally, each player should have a different type of knight. Some roles refer to knights by honorific titles and ranks, while others give a name and home. While most use their full knightly title or simply knight. This is not an exhaustive list, and even those listed knights may differ as the mantle is passed on. Each page also includes a seer who granted their knighthood, witnessed the pledging of their oath. All right, everybody, so for our D6, we have a 3. We're going to be using table 3, and then for our D12, we rolled a 2, so we are the Turtle Knight. Click. Every single page has an image of the seer and the knight. Every one of the 70-something knights. You can literally screenshot the page and send it to the next person. So we got number 32. That's what this is. Table 3, number 2. That's what the dice are. Turtle Knight. I stand ironclad. Stand ironclad, and is it a Shelby steed? I think that's what it says, right? Not born of you will see me dead. So you get a beak hammer, D6, a battered tower shield, D4, A1, a drinking horn, makes even disgusting liquids taste good. See below. I already want to play this knight. I just realized he is drinking. He's drinking. Ability, unbreakable shell. Use at the start of your turn. You cannot move, but double the armor score of your shield and gain a D6 when attacking with the shield. Passion, well-restedness. Restore spirit when you sleep for 2 consecutive phases. You sleep 2 shifts of a day. You're like, oh, I feel so good today. Wake up and drink whatever's in your mug. Drinking horn, you roll the appearance for... Not horn, you will see me dead. Yeah, not one of you, I think is what it is. See me dead. So 2d6, I'm gonna roll 2d6 here. Let's see what our drinking horn is here. 5-2. A painted battle scene, and it imparts a smoky salt flavor in my drinking horn. Everything tastes good that goes into the drinking horn, right? We were knighted by the broken seer. 2, 7, 13, 1 guard. A pile of loose limbs around a husk of a torso, just able to pull themselves into a standing form with some difficulty. Doesn't share much guidance now, but sends a body part on a quest to help. Wants more broken parts to add to their heap. Person, wise farmer, name, crabby, characteristic, fine embroiderment, object, bird cauldron, beast, oily buzzard, state, starving, themes, flowers. Look at all this shit down here. This is all on one sheet. We have a squat steed. Let's go back. Oh, it didn't work. Why are you not working? Is it control? Oh no. I couldn't go back for some reason. Wait, I didn't even look at this. Are these hyperlinked? I wish these top ones would go back to the chart. I wish it would go back to the chart. I'm gonna have to memorize that number. So that's how you roll knights, right? So we got what, 12? How many are there? Is it 12 times? Is there only 6 tables? I can't do mental gymnastics today. 72 knights. 72 knights. 72 myths as well. Does it tell you what the stuff at the bottom of the sheet is? Huh. So let's do this again. Give me a D6 and a D12. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna do this again. Man, I think I'm gonna run Mythic Bastionlands. I think I have to, right? I think I have to run this. Like, Yeah. Well, if I will roll it, if nobody else rolls a D6 and a D12. Ooh, I get a D12 from Sarju, so we need a D6. So we got a 1. We're doing table 1. And then we're doing 9. All right, 1, 9. So the way this would work is you would roll 6 of these, right? And then you would place these myths and omens on the hex map. Entering or exploring the myth's hex always reveals its next omen, remembering primacy of action. The hex itself is visually tied to the myth. When the group feels that the myth is resolved, the knights each gain a glory. Myths may appear at odds with their realms, such as the sea and the desert. Still, these myths must be brought to pass, so a realm and myth can shift as needed. So we got a 1 and a 9, so this is the order. So I'm going to click the order. Again, the way they do this is the page before is your knight. This is the saddle knight, right? And this is the order. There were 6 in the circle, no first among them, each knight and scholar, master and student. And you start with the first one. So you would enter this hex. The GM would kind of read over this themselves. A forge carved in rock, blacksmiths complaining about the order's mistreatment of them. They want justice. So arriving into the hex, coming in, you would hear people arguing, the sound of banging on this grand forge. It's carved into like a rock face that they built this with a natural chimney. And you would go through this process and they'd be like, no, we want justice for what happened. Well, the GM would know, or the referee would know, this is the order that the myths will be figured out. You would talk to them about it. What justice do you want? And you would go through the process of what happened. So the dwelling's in a hot spring. The sanctum is a lullaby falls. The monument, a wooden arch. The hazard, steam holes, a curse, confounding caves, and the ruin, a fouled garden. And they give you, again, a 1-page breakdown for... And I would need nothing more than this page to run 4 sessions. 6 sessions. This is a masterpiece. It's really good. And then when you get to the last part, it's like the company leads an attack toward the nearest holding. They have 3 war bands alongside their retinue. They will lead the realm into misrule or be driven beyond its borders. The company of the order could be a lone scholar knight, and its retinue would be 6 archers, and they carry longbows. And they're just fucking stuff up in your jobs and stuff. Right? Company rides on a trail of a mysterious beast. You're in their way. And then this is where they're going. Really, really amazing craftsmanship. And then if we go to the back, like I just want to point out, it is just, let me zoom out one. Literally the same thing over and over again. It is just a knight and then an omen, a knight and then an omen, a knight and then another one. Like it's nuts. So I want to do enable scrolling. We're good. We're going to click with this. And like, it just doesn't fucking stop. Look at this. Non-stop. Over and over again. Just gorgeous art. After gorgeous art. After gorgeous art. It's just wild to me. And then we get down to this last piece, which is the city quest. The city quest is the big story, the big thing that you're doing. A company worthy of city quest continues their nightly duties as normal. But when they would encounter an omen from a random myth by rolling 1 on a wilderness roll, they instead encounter the omen of the city quest. To determine the omen, roll a d12 and add the number of omens of the city that the company has already encountered, adding 0 if this is their first. In the case of duplicate, take the next omen down on the list. Treat rolls higher than 24 as 24 instead. After encountering omen 18 or higher, the city quest ends. And this is a full quest to find the city. Super fun concept of what this is. It's such a good game. And I feel like it's more than complete. Like, this is such a level that, like, you don't even need expansions to come out. It just does its own. The only thing from here you would build, I believe, is accessories, like its own hex. You know, I envision personally. Do you guys remember the old clings? The sticky clings that you would put in the back of a book and they would cling to that material? Do you remember those as a kid? I'm envisioning a bunch of those hex that are painted as grass, water, mountain, hills, desert, right? And then you have clings that you would stick on them to fill that hex grid. And then you would have a big version of those hexes, a larger version of those hexes, right? To do the hex, the static clings, yeah. To do the larger version of those hexes, where you saw like the diamonds and all that stuff, where you could stick those down to make bigger grids on them. And I'm seeing them cling down so you could set it aside and use those for your adventures. I don't know why my brain saw that using this art with a cling piece over it. I just think that it would work magically as an expansion piece to this. So, pretty cool he added this. This wasn't in the original. What follows are the records of a single scribe, chronicled accounts with insight in their adjunction. What we might shed further light on the laws of this world. Ref, they, them as the referee, Moss, he, him as the Moss Knight, Tal, she, her as the Talon Knight, later the Riddle Knight. And they break down a play. Every person making a new game, I feel like, needs to do this. And maybe Nick is walking his dog, but he may agree with me on this. So let me highlight this. I have my highlighter not working. Highlighter. There we go. Play. He explains it. Thoughts. Why they did it. Character creation. Play. Thoughts. Why they built what they did. Teaching the rules. Play. Thoughts. Explaining how they did it. Again. Primary action. Getting rules wrong. Getting stuck. Taking action. You used pages for this. Exploration. Danger. Combat. Gambits. Unusual attacks. The upper hand. Taking damage. Dynamic combat. Mass combat. Advancing time. Trade. Weapons. Death of a character. Virtues. Traveling. Hospitality. How to handle landmarks. Folklore. Omens. Mapping a realm. Between ages. Council and court. Crisis. Delving into tomorrow. And then the index. Also, is it hyperlinked? Our index is not hyperlinked, I don't think. Oh wait, I have highlighter on. It might be. Hold on. No. And then, at end most of days, my nothing awaits. No treasure or famehood from seer-bound fates. A sword life wasted on gut-sodden ground, drown in pyre smoke of tomorrows unfound. What of the city? What of the call? Mine ears now ring clearly, unfettered by all. In Greyhound those troubles are shed like a blossom, to fall into ground as my deeds go forgotten. This is such a great, closing statement. Yet more is unmade than my own petty story. Stealth-stained watchers care nothing for glory. The waters be scattered, the land torn to waste. Sky shrinking past me with unearthly haste. Beyond flares of man glow the glimmers oh high, lanterns as gods that see myth as a lie. I witness the folly of old battles fought. Only stars now, the city is naught. They have all the tables here that you can print, have them on hand, which I think is really cool. And then this amazing imagery at the back is so great. So it's a complete role-playing game to seek the myths, honor the seers, protect the realm. This is Mythic Bastionlands, everybody. And God damn it, I feel like this is just a fucking masterful piece. Masterful piece. I haven't been this impressed by a book. I don't know, man. I can't think of the last time I was this impressed by a TTRPG. I can't. It does all of the things I want it to do. So that means I got to record. I have to record something for this. I feel I would be doing disservice. I'm going to do this in 10. I think I can do this in 10 minutes. I need the right music. What music do I use for this? What is White? Hold on here. Let me see if White Bat's got anything suiting. Ethereal playlist? I'm going to turn this up a little bit for me so I can hear it. I don't mind this. This has got a good sound, right? I think this is pretty good. I need to cut it down a touch on my end. It's got like an etherealness to it. I'm going to start at song 2 though, I think. Yeah, you can now though. I fixed it. I fixed it. All right. Right? You guys can hear it now? Is the volume good? I gotta put a night on in the background here, I think. Log in. Could you imagine running Dragonlance with this? Yeah, this is ethereal sci-fi synth playlist. So I'm just going to start at the beginning of it. I'm looking for a good night image. Maybe King Arthur will pull up. Let me look. I used to read a lot of King Arthur as a kid. I haven't read King Arthur stuff in so long, though. Oh boy, it's actually hard to find a good night-ish, night one. I'm going to see if there's a tower, because I talk so highly of towers. Maybe I can find a good tower. Is there a good animated tower? No? What about Merlin? Ooh, this is cool, but it's not what I'm looking for. Check this out. That's dope. I'm gonna save that. That's fucking cool. What about Merlin? Maybe Merlin would come up with some stuff. I don't know. How does this have anything to do with Merlin? Was this an animated series? What is this? What's that from? It says Merlin Petrified. Oh, it's from Fairy Tale. Oh, okay. Oh. I found it. We gotta. Headless Knight? Yeah, I know. Gotta use this. Right? Right? All right. All right. Let's get the add-on. I think I know what I'm going to say for this. I'm going to start recording. 3, 2, 1. Music. I'm going to wait till I can see that the music is playing. Audio levels are good, guys, right? Is that too loud? Over top of me? Or is that volume good? Like, is it a good balance? I feel like it might be a touch loud. I think right there is probably good. All right. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, today I want to talk about Mythic Bastionlands. The full PDF has come out with all the artwork after all the delays from people being ill, and I don't mean negatively, because really at the end of the day, with artists disappearing and people having to change and a new artist coming on, this has become one of the most gorgeous books I've seen. And I honestly think it is now going into like the Hall of Fame of TTRPGs for myself. And there's very few things in that Hall of Fame for me from a designer's perspective and as a consumer's perspective. But Mythic Bastionlands is one of them. In this book, you're getting a full showcase of not only how to play knights, but how to hex crawl, how to run said knights in hex crawl, how to have a passage of time, which you know that I believe that pacing is everything in a game, and this game not only teaches you what pacing means, it uses mechanics to enforce it through seasons and ages, and your knights getting better. This does everything I want a TTRPG to do, and more. And we're going to take a quick look through this, so that you understand why I think Mythic Bastionlands is easily one of the best things that come out in my time as a gamer. I know, high praise. So first off, this cover art from Chris and the team, Chris McDowell and the Mythic Bastionland, this is before Into the Odd, for anyone who knows Into the Odd, is just jaw-dropping. The front and back cover of this book are the 72 knights and the 72 omens, and this is all the art. This book took forever because it's one person. One person doing all the art. We've seen things like this in a lot of Free League products, honestly, but man, do they capture the Knight Arthurian style. You can see we went through this during the live show. I have highlighted a bunch of stuff in here, but they just nail the idea of Arthurian legend, but still making it its own. Table of contents is very simple. Get started, rules, equipment, running the game, spark tables, knights, myths, and the odd apothecaria, which is everything in it. This is a 212-page book, and I don't think it needs another page more or another page less. There are hyperlinks in this book for all my hyperlink drink fans out there, and we're going to go right into it and talk about the breakdown of what they've done. Look, this book does a lot. It puts everything on you, but it does it in concise 1 to 2 page spreads, as a lot of us have learned to love through the years of understanding 2-page spread layouts and how everything you need is in that. They do the getting started, the scope, the scale, how glory is how you get better. It is a beauty. It is a beauty and an amazing piece, to be sure. Your players are going to be playing knights, and hell, you as the referee, which is the name of a GM in this game, is also going to be playing knights, but many other things as well. There's only 3 stats in this game, which is your vigor, clarity, and spirit. They are what you roll saves on. It is a D20 roll system for this only, and you roll under those, equal to or under, to succeed. You use them to do feats, which are special things that knights can do, and all knights can do them. Once you fail it, though, you become tired, and you can't do that feat again until you get proper rest, or actually any feats for that matter. What I love about this game is it teaches you how to pass the time, but also when someone dies, there could be a squire in your party, and then they can become the knight that that person who passed plays. Maybe that knighthood is passed down. And like I said earlier, looking at the cover, there are 72 knights in this, and every single one of them is just evocative and rich in story, and it is done in 1 page. And that page even will include a seer. We'll get to those, but I just want you to understand you can play this game for a very long time. Now, the game system is very simple. It is a dice pool system. You take all the dice that you have, and they go from a D4 to a D12. And when you take action, depending on what that action is, without breaking down too much, you roll. On a 4-up, it is considered a success. On an 8-up, it is considered a success. And the reason I say that is because a D8, a D10, and a D12 can get the 8-up. And it allows you to do either damage when you take the highest die. So if you roll a 7, you keep that 7, and that becomes damage. And then the other dice that are rolled, if they are a 4 or higher, you can perform a gambit. If they're 8 or higher, you can do a strong gambit. And these allow you to do really cool things like add extra damage, knock someone prone, take another move. But this game inspires collaborative play. If a group of you are fighting against one huge ogre, for example, you find a myth and there's an ogre, you kind of group up all of your dice rolls, take the best one. Someone with a halberd hits for their D10 and they roll a 10. You start with that one. And then everybody else uses their successes to either add extra damage or add effects or move and reposition. And it makes these grand cinematic pieces, but fast. Combat is quick. It is brutal. Your 3 stats can take damage, but you have something called guard, and that acts like you're kind of, I guess, what we would see as traditional hit points, but it's a little more. It's how tired you get. And when it hits 0, you start taking things to your vigor. And of course, you get scars. If your guard ever hits 0 from a hit, exactly 0, you gain a scar. You can also take a wound, or if you take half your vigor instead of just some vigor, if you take half in one blow, take a mortal wound. There's all these things that we've been taught as old school gamers, or new really, throughout the 3.0 era, that they have compiled into this new system. That's just the basic rules. And honestly, you learn these basic rules so fast. You can see here those scars I was talking about. And even when you get scars, let's just take a look at the big one here, which is humiliation. A most dolorous stroke. When you achieve revenge, your max guard is 12 or less. Increase it by a D6. So like, because you got scarred and you went out and took your vengeance on this thing, whatever it may be, hopefully it's not the corner of a table. If so, hilarity, Knight's Tale. But you get back a D6 guard. Like, it raises because you got messed up so bad. You can recover your pools and all these other mechanics that you can read on your own. But they break down the specifics of combat, warfare, and the art. This is one of my favorite pieces in here. This is in the warfare section. It is a hand with people fighting in a tower and a trebuchet, and then a guy in the front who's still walking, just skewered with pole arms, swords, and javelins and spears in this flowered field of warfare. We don't know who this person is, but it's an evocative story. It gives you something out of the gate to play with, just this art does. I don't know, there's something about this game. They go on to break down things like arms and goods and all the things that you would need in these lovely, eloquent one-page spreads. They talk about the people in the realms and what to do with them and creating a realm, like how to actually make them, because this is a hex crawl based game. They even break down a hex as a hex league, and they find a way to convey what a hex is in a way that I don't think I've seen, even since my Battletech days. I don't think I've seen a hex declared this way. And maybe it's somewhere, and I'm sure they pulled it from somewhere. If not, Chris is a true genius. So here's what a hex league is. Commonly called a hex, the distance represents a few loose factors. The area a hill fort can overlook. It's what you see from the hilltop. The area that guards can patrol in a single day. A return hike to a neighboring hex gets you home before dark. This explains everything about distance and time in 3 bullet points. I think this is such a great way to explain really what a hex league is. And they go on to do a new form of mapping, and you know I love maps. Veins of the Earth teaches you how to map a cavern, while Chris here is teaching you the idea of sights and how to, if you need to zoom into a hex during travel, to quickly roll up this 6-point strategy of how to run a site. I think this happens a lot when you find myths and you're chasing omens in the game. Such a fun way, and again, a one sheet, giving you something new to do, always something to bring to the table for your players. They do a great job about breaking down, refereeing the game and the action procedure, which I believe every game is starting to do this more and more. I think it's important. We saw it in Shadow Dark. We've seen it in a lot of new games. Knave does it. And even Tales of the Valiant's new GM book does a really good job, and a much broader version, but they're teaching you how to GM, because the hardest thing about tabletop RPGs is getting someone feeling comfortable to GM a game. And this game gives you all the tools similar to all the new designs that have come out. Now look, I am going over basic stuff, but Chris goes on explaining that glory and time passage is how your knights kind of age out. Even so much that when you start losing your hit points and stuff as you age out, this like general passing of a character. I like to think of the King Conan story. But he breaks down time, that there are 3 seasons and how to handle it. And it's something that when you get the book, you should look into. They break down traveling in hexes and how to handle it, and the idea of exploration as adventure and what it does. How your vigor, your clarity, and your spirit, your 3 stats are strength in senses and social, and how those envelop part of exploration as you're traveling. They even go out to do dominions, because as a knight you get the ability to rule a domain, and if you have a council or a court or what you're responsible for. But there's something about the spark tables in this book, or he calls them spark tables. We would know them as reference tables that are just succinct. Nature is just one of them. And as for example, if you're traveling through a hex, during my live show, if you want to see more, a deeper dive into this book as I go through the whole 212 pages, down below will be a link to the live show that this is being clipped from. But I rolled up the idea of being in a hex. I'm going to do this quickly just to show you how it works. Let's say I roll into a new hex as knights, and we are in this gray bog. The sky right now is slate, and wind is billowing, blowing the clouds above. As we step through into the first part of water, there is this odd, dark, mirroring surface as the horses trot through. On our way in, it was sunny, but as soon as we have hit this gray-scaled bog, there is a fleeting of sunlight. The flora and fauna is twisted, reeds that spiral like corkscrews, frogs impaled on them as if they grew through them in slumber. The features of this place, while gray, are entombed. in this arching canopy of dying trees. This is just from Spark Tables and me literally looking at a word and telling a tale. This allows other GMs to learn the methods of doing this. And Chris goes on to give it to you for civilization. He gives it to you for people, which this is one of my favorite Spark Tables in here. But he also gives it to you for combat. During the live show, I talk about having a duel in a maze and having these walking platforms above while people are watching two knights duel inside of a maze. And when they get to the centerpiece, people are throwing flowers in and having this grand time. Look, but what we're here for is the knights. In here, you roll a D6 and a D12 for these 72 knights that are in here. And we're not going to go through all of them. We rolled a turtle knight during the show. I pre-rolled here for table 4, and I rolled for number 4, which is the meteor knight. These are all hyperlinked. We're going to click it and go to the meteor knight. And I want to showcase what is on one page. The 44 in the corner shows you what you rolled on the D6 and the D12, so you know what you have. You can literally print this page and hand it to your player, and they can make a character in a matter of moments. Depending on where you start in the game determines your 3 stats and your bonuses. That's in the beginning of the book. We're not making a character right now. The Meteor Knight, a star of truth fell from on high. Such a luminous one should wear no lie. Your property that you start with, besides what all knights start with, which is like a dagger and camping gear, an elaborate trident, brass mail, moon oil. When rubbed on an object, you could lift it, renders the object weightless until washed with water. You restock every new season. You have a limping steed who will never be hurried, with a vigor of 12 for clarity of 8 and a spirit of 5 with a 4 guard. You have the ability Starfall and music. You never suffer damage from falling unless landing on something harmful. When you land from a fall of at least 12 foot, you may relieve a shockwave, adding a D8 blast. Blasts in this game hit everything in the area. You roll individually for each person. Passion, authenticity. Restore spirit when you reveal your identity or intentions at an inconvenient moment. When you guys are all just hiding, going through this den of thieves, and you take off your cloak and say, I am the Moonlit Knight. And you gain spirit back for doing so. You have an elaborate trident. You roll. Every guy feels different. You have a 2-headed spear that can be thrown. And then, of course, it also talks about the seer who knighted you. Any squire can go to a seer and find out if you are able to become a knight. It's also for the city quest, which we'll talk about later. A moonlit seer, and I'm just going to read this one off. I'm not going to go through all of these. There's so many. It's just something to read every day. A glow of loosely human shape knows everything that moonlight has touched. Only exists under moonlight. Strongest and most lucid under a full moon. What wants everything to happen at precisely the correct time and nothing significant to happen outside the moon's sight. At the bottom, they give you a breakdown of extra things. Persons are ambitious parent, name. They give you a name of Rainier. Characteristically, over-familiar object, a shame gem, a beast, an overgrown hawk, a state, tearing, a theme, insects. As they break down concepts of things you can use when you're talking to the Moonlit Seer or just involving the Moonlit Knight. Now, for the sake of argument, instead of going back and re-rolling, we're going to go to an omen. Let me explain omens and myths. You have 3 tasks that you are responsible for as a knight in Mythic Bastionland. Seek the myths, honor the seers, protect the realm. That is the thing that you are responsible for doing as a knight in this game. And that's the entire party of knights that are here. And I think that this game understands that having a little bit of tabletop mechanics help you create a better game because people have rules to follow. But Chris understands that they need to be open enough for a GM to have freedom. So, omens are what you follow when you're following a myth. And they happen in a turn-based order of 1 through 6. We're going to talk about the Spectre. Haunted souls find no sleep, in bed or rot or gratitude so deep. The art for all of these are also just everything I want out of our Arthurian style game. You'll notice the first thing you do is a funeral procession carries the Moth Knight, soon to be buried in home soil. And your group follows these omens, and Chris talks about how this happens, how you do the omens and what you're supposed to do. Again, at the bottom, when you are kind of not sure what to run, he gives you ideas. A bogged village, a misty grove. He's setting tone for these omens as you go through them. And as you scroll through this book, you are just given a feast of art to look at for each night and each omen. Well worth the wait of this Kickstarter, which honestly did not get delayed that long. If anyone whines, fuck off. This is a masterpiece. So I love this game. I love the book. I love what it does. And there's only 2 more things I really want to showcase here. We're not going to go through all the knights and myths and the legends. I want you to be able to do that on your own. I feel like if I take that away from you, I'm taking away the service of cracking this book open, pouring yourself some mead, and really diving into something you may not get again in your life. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I really do believe this game is that thing. This is a once maybe in a lifetime experience for gamers. I feel like it does something that we haven't gotten enough of recently. Okay? So, at the end of this, there is something called the City Quest. This is the main quest that you're doing throughout the Hex Crawl and searching through the myths and the legends and helping people and gaining a domain and building a king, all the shit you want to do as a knight. The City Quest, for the oath, for the glory, through sorrow and ache, the city that quests to which no knight can make. When you're doing this, you roll. You roll a d12. Every time a 1 comes up on a wilderness roll, you are instead seeking the omens in the City Quest. And you roll a d12 and you add however many omens you've done so far. And it takes you through this City Quest piece with an amazing piece of art kind of encapsulating what it is. Who the cast of the city is, what it's about, what you're going to build, what you're about to go on. Alex Sorensen, thank you to the person in chat. But then he goes through the odd apocryphia. My brain doesn't want to work for this. I'm too excited. But what he really does is cites the idea of how him and his group play the game, and then his thoughts on running the game. And he does this for every section of the book. So many times designers are trying to explain how you run their game. And it just falls short. They have examples of combat and examples of pieces of their game, but this gives you gameplay next to thoughts on each one, and they go through and do this literally for everything in the game. And I find this really helpful when you are teaching a new game mechanic and a new style of gaming. And we're in an era right now where gamers are coming from everywhere, but there's a lot of new gamers coming from 5th edition that have picked their heads up and are looking to play new things. And this game does that. It evokes group play. It creates a story as you unfurl the tale that you're doing. It teaches you about passage of time. It teaches you about pacing of a story. And it gives you the toolbox you need to run the setting. So, I recommend you go pick up this book. The links will be down below for Mythic Bastionland. And go find yourself some Hex stuff. Hex to Roll is a great way to run this. Even if you want to do solo play, Hex to Roll just put another one out. Their Patreon's like $2.99 a month. And it is a powerful tool that I think combines really good with Mythic Bastionlands. I do have one thing as a final thought. I would love to see a static cling version of the hex tiles, so you can lay the hex tiles down and you can pull out static clings and set them on the hex tiles so they change all the time. You could stack them back up and put them away in like little folder piece. Somebody please make me static cling hex tiles. The base ones should be all the normal base terrain that you get, and then cool things that cling on for omens and myths and towers and castles. But that's it for me on EFP Live for this quick review of Mythic Bastionlands. If you want to see more of it, look down below. Do not forget Breachers Volume 1 is not only out in PDF now, $1 cheaper on my Patreon, but also you can get the print version as well. Handcrafted by me, signed, with maybe some extra notes in it. Who knows? Enjoy, watch, listen, learn, be a better gamer. Pick up Mythic Bastionlands and learn something new today. All right, for everyone who's live, I'm gonna stop recording this. I think that's all I have for today, everybody. I'm kind of passionate about this, and I think I answered my own problem. I think the next show that I run has to be this. I really think it does. I love what it is. I love everything it represents. Blades in the Dark is the last game that did this for me. And I will say Wild Sea is close, but I haven't put enough time into reading it. I love the people I met at Gamehole Con. I love what Mythic Bastionland, or sorry, what Wild Sea gave me. I think it's a great piece, but there's just something about this. I don't know. So this is the last show for the week. This is the 30th. The Patreon post goes out tonight. For those who are not part of the Patreon, if you're interested in getting your copy of Breachers, remember any PDFs I put out, you get access to, along with all my working docs as I release them tonight. I believe the release is airships, the beginning of my airship work for ETHAUNTIA. I'm really far into it. I think it's ready for me to share. I'm in the middle of breaking down combat. I was inspired to go back and look at this after my time talking to the gentleman from Dark Space on Corpse Talk yesterday. And then also with Aether Dark coming up for a design show soon. I'm going to have the gentleman from that on for a Rise in Design. And we're going to design something for Aether Dark Live as part of the design show. So I find that all that kind of moved together to where I wanted to go back and look at our ship combat. We never really got in heavy ship combat other than once during the Wanted series, and they did really well, and it was ramming and stuff like that, and their ship was in port for a while, so I learned a lot from that. It had a Firefly feel. Mags did a really good job making it about dinner. We were at the dinner table, like, I think almost every session was something fun. I really wish we had a dungeon chef. I think it would have been fun. But, yeah, I think this is going to be the next game. I think I'm going to be running Mythic Bastionland. So I'll put links down below if you haven't picked it up. I'll put one in chat right now for you guys as well. I think this is a remarkable piece. You can get it on DriveThruRPG, but I'm going to be honest with you. Like, yeah, if your catalog's there, grab it, whatever, right? But if it's not, oh, I own this title. Oops, I gave you the wrong one. That goes right to me, and that's just going to fuck you up. There you go. Either this, or I would say to get it from Itch. Itch doesn't take as much money from the creator, itch.io. I recommend picking it up there if you can. Really rules light, really well done. Just an amazing set piece. It really is. So, you want to play a night, everybody? This is it. I think my final words for the day is, could you imagine if the next version of Bastionland was Star Wars inspired? What would Jedi be like? I don't know, it's just a thought, everyone. Have a great day. I'm gonna go walk my dog, make some food. I hope you guys pick up Mythic Bastionlands, of course. Thank you for everyone who's purchased Breacher stuff. That means so much to me. There is, I think there's a link down in the area right now to purchase it. And then on the merch website, you can purchase the hard copy right now. I'm doing 3 different shipping, so make sure you pick the country you're from for shipping, because the shipping is baked into the purchase price. I won't refund the Stripe costs and all that stuff if you pick the wrong one. It's really easy. Just read it. But yeah, guys, have a great one. Enjoy your week. I will not be around the rest of this week on live, but I will be over on Discord a good amount, as I guess I start designing stuff for Mythic Bastionlands. And then tonight, to my gamers, I'll see you for Breachers. Have a great